Hello, welcome to What the Flick. Christy, Matt, and Ben. We are all severely underdressed and not stoned enough to talk about By the Sea, about well-dressed, stoned people. Please describe it to us, Ben Makowitz.
Well, I guess the description of the movie, I guess provided probably by the studio that's on Flickster here, says, a married couple takes a vacation in France in the 1970s and finds that their time in the sleepy seaside town, complete with a unique array of locals, strengthens their bond and reaffirms their marriage.
There's a unique person or two, maybe.
They're the best. One of them is the best person in the movie,
yes.
I think. But somehow that just seems, it feels like it's right out of TV Guide.
I'm not taking responsibility for that.
I hear you.
We have a data provider. It's not me.
Nowhere in there is the word Brangelina, by the way.
Nowhere, yeah.
Right.
They're
it's a huge miss.
Right, that married couple is Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, for crying out loud. And he's a writer, and she is his very sad, bitter wife. And we spend most of the movie trying maybe to figure out what has made her so bitter. And they go to this sleepy seaside town in France because he needs inspiration to write. And a lot of things happen that I didn't really understand. I'm not sure I ever totally was satisfied with why she was bitter. They do meet some interesting people. And I think, this line here about reaffirms their marriage, I'm not sure any of that is clear. What is interesting is that there's a couple living next door that includes Melanie Laurent, and they are newlyweds. And there's a peephole between the rooms, and that is what makes this movie, to the extent that it is interesting,
You're making your intro as long and drawn out as the first act of this movie. So let's watch the
By the way, I could go on for another hour, and I wouldn't do that. Here we go.
It's the perfect way to end a
Are we ever going to talk about it? Nessa? Do you hate me?
You know my reason.
You want to hurt me?
You're nothing.
Hurt me? Come on! Just stop!
It's the perfect day.
Also, we should mention that you probably saw it in the trailer. Angelina Jolie Pitt, as she is now calling herself, wrote and
Because
directed
now
this.
they're married.
Now they're married. Now it's for real. So that's supposed to be she wrote and directed this, but that's supposed to be part of the lurid, voyeuristic thrill. Many layers of voyeurism going on here. We're watching Brad and Angelina, the first time together on screen in a decade since Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where they met and fell in love. Watching them on screen, actually fighting and actually bickering and smacking each other, and there's supposed to be like a spark,
right.
And it never exists.
Yeah.
This movie is so languid that even in the bursts of passion, it just feels there's attachment to them.
Even when they're being voyeurs, it is not really sparkly. It is not there's a couple of funny moments there because they're connecting finally, but it is not. It doesn't, I don't think, come alive in those moments. It only comes alive slightly more than it was before.
Yeah, we were talking about it's impossible to make a movie that is really beautifully made but terrible, and
Yeah,
that's what this is.
Yeah, right, and it's not terrible because they give embarrassing performances. They don't. They're very good. The co-stars are very good. It's a beautiful part of the country, and it's shot beautifully. It's a little bit dead on arrival. It never gets up and fights for itself in any way.
You liked it better than we did.
I didn't totally hate this movie.
Okay.
And I
didn't totally hate it either, even though I'm going to give it a number it's just not worth your time.
See, I don't know that I totally agree with that. This is a movie, look, the elephant in the room is you can't watch this movie that's been written and directed by Angelina Jolie Pitt and not analyze this as her, on some level being a take on what she thinks of her relationship with her husband, or at least she's exploring things that are clearly on her mind. And on that level, I think it's really interesting.
Is it?
I think so. I like this. Look, this movie starts with this marriage is broken. It's absolutely broken, and you find out that there's trauma in the past. They hint at it relatively early on, but then you find out what's it can become spelled out. And when it gets spelled out, it's a little ham-fisted, and it takes the drama away. But it's interesting. I can't think of the last time you see a movie where you've got this flawed woman, this woman who's in a lot of pain and she's messed up, and her husband is giving her the space that he thinks she needs or wants, for right or for wrong, and he's flawed too, but it's okay. They're not black and white characters. He's not a monster. A lot of filmmakers and a lot of writers would go into this where like, oh, the husband's an oaf, he's a monster. No, the husband's actually like Brad Pitt's character Ronald is really Roland is really trying to do right by her.
They're both bad names for his character.
They're
Roland
both,
and Vanessa. We should mention this takes place in the 70s.
Right.
This is relevant for a lot of reasons, but go ahead.
I can't help but wonder if this movie got cut down by about 30, 35 minutes, would it work? Would it work better? I think the biggest problem here is that you've got somebody like Angelina Jolie who's in the bubble, right? And you're in the bubble and nobody tells you no. And so and this happens to a lot of filmmakers, right? We see guys Ridley Scott's a great example. Ridley Scott can make a 3-hour movie because he's Ridley Scott. Nobody's going to tell him not to.
Seth MacFarlane,
right? Arguably, Angelina Jolie, one of the biggest stars on the planet. Nobody's going to tell her she can't do a 2-hour movie, and maybe somebody should have. And I wonder, I can't help but think if this was a 30-minute shorter movie, would it be more interesting? Because it would cut out a lot of the problems that come of, that first act is so slow, and 15 minutes in, you're like, all right, I got it. And they keep hitting like, oh, she's depressed. Like,
it's one day after we see them coming and going in and out of their hotel room in this beautiful French seaside town again and again and again and again. Right. It's suggesting there's a monotony to their days and a pat. We get it. Like they're in a funk. They're in a pattern.
Right, but the thing that you don't like about it is what she intended. That languid mood is supposed to put us, I think, in their minds, in their depression. So it's totally germane to the story she's trying to tell. It's just like a totally fucking dreary to watch.
I think,
or at least break it up a bit. Think at the beginning of like how Melancholia does that. Right? Melancholia is this great look, really powerful look at somebody with depression and how crippling that can be. But it doesn't hit that for 30 minutes at a stretch, right? It mixes it up and shows that there is a self-destructive aspect to that. And you never really, I don't think you see as much of that with Vanessa's character in this. I'm coming at this admittedly looking at like, oh, what is she saying? I found this to be like her kind of thinking out loud about stuff that's on her mind about her marriage and her life.
But also, supposedly, it's how she worked through her mother's death as well. This is what she has said. It's a tribute to her mother's death and how she worked through it. So that's kind of fucked up, too.
Well, Matt said a couple of interesting things, and they're going to cause me to raise my score a little bit, because one thing that I maybe I forgot that I thought, and you did a nice job reminding me, is that these characters could have been, and almost you expect them to be less interestingly drawn. Like, she's not a monster and he's not a monster, but they are both super flawed in this marriage, right? And I like that. There's a complicated nature to them, and I did like that. And I think it's also interesting to look at it through the prism of maybe how Angelina views her marriage, whether you're supposed to or not. But I think that would be super interesting if it were better. Like that's the kind of thing that to throw around the way we talk in numbers that might take a 7.7 to an 8.2 because it's interesting. Well, I'm not sure it lifts something that's dull.
And I think part of the problem is she's in the bubble. I look at this as somebody who's an editor and think, okay, you need to edit that script, take 2 or 3 more passes at the script, and probably cut down the movie and take another pass at what you've got on film
and blow something up.
Exactly.
Literally,
and have a car chase.
Right, totally, yeah.
No, but it is gorgeous. It is her homage to a very specific kind of film, like a 1970s European drama. Everything is just lush, and the clothes are amazing, and it's all shot through this like gauzy kind of sunlit, perfection on the sea, and her clothes are great. But she's super, super skinny in a way that is distracting.
Yeah. When she comes out of the shower,
she's just bony. Yes. Part of that, I keep trying to tell myself, oh, it's not the tabloidy stuff that we see about her being a mess. It's like she plays a former dancer who is, she's just devastated by what's happened in her marriage and in her life, and that is taking a toll on her. You never really see her eat. She pops a lot of pills and she drinks and she sleeps all day in an array of like really luxurious negligees and like matching little throws.
We should all be so lucky.
And we were talking to Tara McNamara last night at a movie we saw, The 33, and she was like, every moment just looked posed. The whole thing looks like a magazine spread in a way that takes you out of the emotion she's trying to convey.
I agree,
'Cause
yeah.
everything is just like,
It's too perfect. It was
yes,
too. Right.
and yes,
It was
and
too, right,
the lips and the
then
hat and the sunglasses. She looks great.
But there's other little touches that I think that as a filmmaker, she touches on that, the thing like with the glasses, the thing with her glasses that happens 3 or 4 times, which I thought was an interesting little moment.
You're trying to take care of her.
And I kind of wanted to see that, like, is there a payoff to that? The way they talk to each other about getting groceries, right? And like, oh, we were out of milk, those really kind of just boring conversations like nails the tone of what married life is like sometimes. And that was fascinating. I thought that was interesting. Like people that can look that beautiful and be that troubled, like they're still going through the day-to-day mechanics of being married. Yeah. And that was kind of interesting.
I feel like I've talked about it too much, but like the glasses thing, like I liked.
Back to the glasses.
I liked initially when you saw he's going to do it, you saw them face down and you're like, oh, he's going to turn the glasses up. And then each time we got it. We got the shot of the glasses.
Right.
We're on it. Like,
well, they were nice glasses.
They were nice glasses, but I mean,
Yves Saint Laurent.
like I got it. He's turning his glasses over. Like then it became
he's
too
still
much.
taking care of her.
I know, but
right?
I needed a little more subtlety there. I thought it lacked.
We should
I thought it was
mention
clumsy.
the person you think is the best person in the whole movie.
Yeah. Nils Erstad.
Former LAFCA Best Actor winner.
Oh, really?
For A Prophet.
Oh, okay. Well, he's great, and he's the barkeeper. He's the bartender at this at the restaurant at this hotel they're staying at, and he's really wonderful.
He's the voice of wisdom.
Yeah, but again, he's the unsubtle voice of wisdom. He's not trying to be. It's almost like you got to pull it out of him. He's not. So anyway, but Matt talked me up a little.
Okay. Well, your number was 4.3.
No, so I'm gonna.
I'm sorry. It was 3.5.
Yeah, 4.5.
4.5. Okay.
Thank you. I give it a 5.5.
Okay, I was saying 4, but maybe I will also say 4.5 for the sake of math.
Look at Matt.
All right.
4.8.
It's at 27% on the tomato meter right now, which is a little low.
Yeah, I think people are kind of gunning for it. It's a bit of a vanity project. I think folks
I
are
like them.
tooling
I
on it
want to
for that
like them.
reason.
They're both good. Right. She's a good filmmaker.
It's a desperately flawed project,
Yeah,
but there's kind of something there.
There's craft. Keep making movies, Angie. You're onto something. Bye.